Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you are watching this video, and welcome from the web team. Today I am going to show you how to use the Page Layout Builder. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one, so let's get started. Let's begin with the basic structure of a template. Whenever you create a new page within Omni, it will look like this. There are 50 sections and 5 boxes. There are 10 sections per box. Section 1 is the start of box 1. And section 10 is the end of box 1. Box 2 starts at section 11 and continues through section 20, and this continues for boxes 3, 4, and 5 with 10 sections per box. Now that we understand the basic structure of a template, let's get started building a layout. The Layout Builder can be found within the Page Manager bar. Over on the right-hand side, there are 2 buttons. The first button is your Page Layout button. By clicking this, it opens our Page Layout Builder. The first section is the Page Layout Settings. The second section is the Current Layout Build, and the third section is the Layout Preview. I will explain each of these as we go. Let's begin with the Layout Preview. The Layout Preview shows your page as it currently looks. Our page only has the basic structure. We can see here that we have 5 boxes with 10 rows per box. The Current Layout Build will show you what you're building as you go. And the Page Layout Settings is where the magic happens. Let's begin building our layout by selecting box 1. When I select box 1, our current layout build now says Updating Layouts for Box 1. Below, we have all of these layout blocks that we can choose from. Think of it a little bit like playing with Legos. I will admonish, start simple. It is always easier to add and change when you begin simply. Let's start with a very simple row. By clicking Add, we can see that it is now updating my current layout build. Next, I'm going to add 2 columns, and then I'm going to add 1 more row. Once I have my box set up the way I want, in the current layout build, I have these 3 options. The first one will reset everything. The second will hide everything, and the third will generate my layout. When I select this button here, we can see in the layout preview that box 1 has changed to the layout that I had just built. Now that we have our layout set for box 1, let's move on to box 2 and look at some of the other features that are included in our page layout settings. To begin, we're going to select Reset Section. We want to start with a clean slate for box 2. In the page layout settings, I will deselect the layout for box 1, and I will select box 2. In the current layout build, you can see that it reads Updating Layouts for Box 2. In our layout catalog, we do include options to filter based on rows, columns, or sections. You do get 10 sections per box, so if you would like to just see every layout block configured with 10 sections, you can select 10 sections. These are the layout blocks that are available that are pre-built with 10 sections. I am going to select 3 columns. And now I see every option that includes 3 columns. I'm going to keep it simple and select 3 columns that are evenly sized. I'm going to deselect the columns filter back to all, and then I'm going to add a row, and I think 2 columns. I now have my layout build for box 2. However, I kind of want the row on the top. We do offer the option to move items around using the up or down arrows. If I select the up arrow on my row, for example, it will move it into the first space. I can also move my 3 columns down or maybe back up. Once you have your layout blocks configured the way you want, we will select Generate. And now I can see in my layout preview that my box 2 is configured. I want you to notice that box 1 goes 1 through 4. Box 2 will still start with section 11. This is important because this means that at any point, if I add more sections into my box 1, it will not affect anything below it. I can add more columns or rows into the first box, and I won't have to reorganize box 2. Now that you're getting the hang of building layouts, let's quickly set up box 3. We begin by clicking Reset Section because we want a blank slate to start with. I will deselect box 2 and select box 3. I'm going to add a row and 2 columns. And then I'm going to add 4 columns, and I want one more row of, the box has exceeded 10 sections. You will be alerted whenever this happens. You get 10 sections per box. When this happens, you can come in here and choose which section you want to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of my 2 columns. I now have the layout I would like, and I will select Generate Body CSS for selected section. My box 3 is now set up. We have now created a layout for boxes 1, 2, and 3. But maybe you don't need box 4 and 5. Most users will not need 50 sections for every page on their website. You now have 2 choices. You can leave the layout as is. Our templates are very robust, and whatever sections you don't need that you leave blank just won't be displayed. However, if you don't want to see a bunch of open rows on your layout, you can select Reset Section, deselect 3, select boxes 4 and 5, and then select Hide. I can now see that boxes 4 and 5 are not displayed in my layout preview. You may have also noticed that I selected boxes 4 and 5 and did one action for both. You can do this whether you are hiding or creating. For example, if I wanted box 1 and box 2 to look the same, I could have simply selected both boxes, and I could have built both boxes at the same time. A final note on our page layout settings. There is this option for element gap. By default, each section will be right next to, above, or below the section or row that it is connected to. By choosing a gap, you can add space between your sections. For most regular content, the space won't even be noticeable. The gap is mostly helpful if you're using card styles or background colors on your sections. For our example here, I'm going to choose a gap of 5 pixels. You can see in my layout preview that some space has been added between the sections. In my layout catalog, I do have a layout gallery. This is just a handful of quick build layouts. If you see one you like, you can simply copy this and it will create the code and this layout for you. Once your layout looks exactly the way you want, simply come over here to the page layout settings and the body CSS. This has been built and changing as we've been creating our boxes. I am going to select and copy this entire section. Once I'm done, I'm going to close my layout editor. My page hasn't changed. It is still the same default layout. But by selecting the Body CSS button up here at the top of my page, I can paste that code in that I just copied and hit Save. I can now see my layout. And I can also see that boxes 4 and 5 are not here. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions or have a request for a tutorial you would like to see, let us know.